The story opens on a towering corporate building, a symbol of modern ambition. Inside, office gossip buzzes as two women watch a tense meeting unfold between a man and a woman. They identify the woman as Xiaohei's girlfriend, who has arrived at his workplace with one clear intention: to break up. One of the onlookers is stunned by the sheer audacity of this very public confrontation. The girlfriend, Hei Xin, leans in, brutally telling Xiaohei she's done with his uselessness, leaving him utterly bewildered. Her face contorts with rage, expressing her complete disgust for the man in front of her. Xiaohei is left speechless, the shock and hurt of her words written all over his face. She looms over him, mocking his failed potential as a cultivator and the precious time she claims he wasted. He lowers his head, recalling the spirit stones and treasures she had once invested in his future. As her tirade continues, his hand tightens into a fist, his patience finally reaching its limit. She belittles his past gifts as junk, flaunting new spiritually charged earrings from another man. His suppressed anger erupts as his fist smashes a cup to pieces on his desk. The sudden noise startles the onlookers, and even Hei Xin is taken aback by his reaction. One coworker tries to stop her friend from intervening, insisting they ignore the drama and focus on their work. Xiaohei's unexpectedly calm voice cuts through the tension, leaving Hei Xin confused. He then coolly demands she return everything he has ever given her. Enraged by his audacity, she explodes in a fit of fury, kicking a chair across the room. She screams a venomous curse at him, wishing him a life of poverty and a miserable death. Unfazed, he suggests she can mail his things back, but she furiously declares she'd rather throw them away. He mockingly asks which river she'll use, feigning concern over such a terrible waste. One coworker finds Xiaohei's sudden change intriguing, but her friend urges her back to work before the manager appears. Her distraction proves costly as a menacing presence suddenly looms over her desk, demanding to know what she's doing. It's the Cultivation Department manager, Zhang Jiqian, whose glowing eyes and imposing figure question her work progress. The manager's fury then shifts to Xiaohei, who he finds slumped over his desk in apparent defeat. The female co-worker bravely speaks up, explaining that a recent breakup is the cause of his distress. The manager gives a silent, calculating look, his expression unreadable as he processes the information. Seeking solitude, Xiaohei sits precariously on the rooftop ledge, contemplating the sky and his situation. His quiet moment is interrupted by the manager, who approaches and asks about his missed lunch. Showing unexpected concern, the manager walks up to him, inquiring if he's feeling unwell. He then offers Xiaohei a cold drink, a simple gesture meant to help him unwind from the day's turmoil. Xiaohei eyes the drink with suspicion, wondering why his perpetually grumpy manager is suddenly being so kind. He unleashes a cathartic roar at the sky, venting all the pain from his ex-girlfriend's betrayal. Feeling a sense of relief, he's genuinely surprised by the manager's rare display of compassion. But after a single sip of the drink, a wave of dizziness washes over him. He realizes the drink was tampered with, just as he loses his footing on the precarious ledge. The manager's reflection reveals a terrifying, predatory grin, his true intentions finally exposed. With Xiaohei unconscious on the ground, the manager looms over him, a foot planted firmly on his back. His world fades to black as an overwhelming heaviness takes over his mind. He awakens with a start, finding himself chained in a desolate, rocky wasteland. A mysterious figure's silhouette approaches through the gloom, confirming that he is now awake. The approaching figure is revealed to be his manager, who strolls casually towards the shackled Xiaohei. Confused, Xiaohei attempts to de-escalate, suggesting this is all a terrible mistake. He then cracks a defiant joke, completely misreading the gravity of his predicament. The manager's face twists with fury, his patience completely shattered by the ill-timed humor. In a flash, he delivers a brutal strike, doubling Xiaohei over in pain. Grabbing him by the hair, the manager forces him to confront the terrifying reality of his situation. Xiaohei peers into the abyss below, only to find a pair of malevolent red eyes staring back from the darkness. The eyes flare with an ancient, predatory hunger, locking onto him with terrifying intensity. A colossal, serpentine beast rises from the chasm, its immense form dwarfing the two men. The manager presents Xiaohei as a sacrifice, revealing his ancient bloodline is the true prize for the monstrous entity. The monstrous entity presents the manager with a glowing red pill as a reward for his service. The manager marvels at the prize, certain it will guarantee his long-awaited cultivation breakthrough. With his payment secured, he callously turns his back on Xiaohei, leaving him chained at the abyss. The colossal beast now looms over its sacrifice, granting him a moment for any final words. Yet, instead of terror, Xiaohei's expression is one of pure, unflinching defiance. He audaciously insults the ancient creature's breath, making a final, sarcastic request. Enraged by the mortal's insolence, the beast bellows its grand titles and immense power. It then catches itself, deeming it disgraceful to lose its composure over a mere human. With a flick of its power, the beast shatters Xiaohei's chains, lifting him helplessly into the air. The creature decides to savor its meal, pulling him closer to be devoured piece by agonizing piece. In a final act of defiance, he tries to gross out the monster with a bizarre threat about his foot fungus. His insolence pushes the ancient beast over the edge, and it lets out an earth-shattering roar. The creature's jaws snap shut, engulfing Xiaohei in what should be his final moments. Yet through the searing pain, he grimaces, sarcastically admitting that it stings a little. A strange glowing sigil suddenly burns bright red on the back of his hand. The beast itself is marked with the same symbol, recoiling as it feels a shared, agonizing pain. A system message reveals his ultimate gambit, a forbidden bloodline technique linking his life and death to his enemy. The scene suddenly shifts to a classroom, where a teacher shouts in disbelief at a student's strange words. It's a flashback to a younger Xiaohei, standing before his class with that same defiant posture. The teacher, a younger Zhang Jiqian, scolds him for practicing a death curse instead of his assigned mantras. A younger Xiaohei erupts into a defiant, almost manic laugh in the middle of the classroom. In the teacher's lounge, a colleague asks Zhang Jiqian about the supposedly talented transfer student in his elite class. A greedy glint appears in Zhang Jiqian's eyes as he recalls the new arrival. His inner monologue reveals his plan to fleece the student, certain he's too untalented to last. Back in the present, Xiaohei is haunted by the memory of his ex-girlfriend's cruel laughter. He stares at the ceiling, boldly declaring that talent is no longer a requirement for his path to immortality. He understands now that after his death, he returned to the past with his dormant spirit root finally awakened. The memory of his ex's insults triggers a bitter realization about the principal's true motives for accepting his transfer. The flashback continues as a foot slams down hard on his desk, a sudden act of intimidation. A thuggish classmate lays out the class rules, demanding a weekly tribute of top-grade cultivation items. Onlooking classmates whisper excitedly, recognizing the class bully is about to educate the new student. Unfazed, Xiaohei calmly questions why he should give up his things or tolerate such disrespect. The bully roars back, claiming dominance over the territory and mocking Xiaohei for being a coward. He issues a final ultimatum with a threat of public humiliation before arrogantly leaping from the window. But in a shocking twist, Xiaohei's hand darts out, catching the bully's ankle mid-jump. A dangerous red glint flashes in Xiaohei's eyes, revealing a hidden, terrifying power. With a vicious grin, he yanks the airborne bully back into the classroom with immense strength. The bully is then violently thrown out the other side of the building, plummeting towards the ground below. He crashes into the pavement with devastating force, the impact shattering the ground around him. The stunned classmates remark that the fall won't be fatal, with one student disappointed he didn't die for a better class ranking. The bully lies stunned in the crater, the ground shattered by the sheer force of his landing. Enraged and bloodied, he struggles to his feet, screaming a promise of violent revenge after school. A concerned classmate warns Xiaohei about the bully's identity, revealing his powerful family and undefeated record. He recounts the grim fate of the bully's last victim, whose entire family was destroyed as a consequence. As a final tip, the classmate advises him to avoid a specific alley known for being an ambush point. Ignoring the warning entirely, Xiaohei stands defiantly before the entrance to the very same alley. The bully's underlings lie in wait, questioning if their numbers are excessive for a single transfer student. Their leader smirks with arrogance, certain that Xiaohei is desperately seeking an escape he has already cut off. As one of the lackeys praises his boss's brilliant plan, an unexpected voice shatters their confidence. The goon spins around in shock, realizing their target has appeared right behind them. Xiaohei calmly walks into the alley, a confident smirk playing on his lips. From a rooftop, the bully's gang watches in disbelief, mocking him for walking into his own demise. Their leader, however, grows suspicious, wondering if this fearlessness is a sign of hidden power. With a menacing red glint in his eye, Xiaohei mocks their cowardice and openly invites them to attack. Enraged by the disrespect, one of the underlings takes the bait and lunges forward. The goon unleashes a vicious kick, sending Xiaohei hurtling backwards with incredible force. He slams into a brick wall, the impact shattering the surface around him. The onlookers jeer at his apparent weakness, disappointed by the anticlimactic display. The bully leader scoffs, dismissing his earlier caution and concluding Xiaohei was all talk. The attacker stands over Xiaohei's motionless form, boasting that the kick was powerful enough to cause fatal internal injuries. But from the ground, Xiaohei mockingly asks if that weak kick was the best a level 5 cultivator could do. His attacker's face twists in pure rage, infuriated by the blatant disrespect. He lunges forward again, aiming a devastating kick directly at Xiaohei's head. The impact is brutal, a soundless explosion of force echoing through the alley. But it's the attacker who stumbles back in agony, his own leg now injured and bleeding. The gang on the rooftop watches in stunned silence, completely baffled by this turn of events. Lying on the ground, Xiaohei erupts into a wild, triumphant laugh. He rises to his feet and delivers a series of punishing stomps to his opponent's leg. Suddenly, a mysterious woman with white hair and glowing eyes appears on a rooftop, announcing she's found her target. From above, the entire scene is revealed, with all parties now aware of the powerful new arrival. The bully leader is stunned, realizing the mysterious woman appeared in an instant right under his nose. Without warning, she brings a massive rune-covered weapon down on Xiaohei's defeated opponent. The gang leader panics, realizing her deadly technique is powerful enough to destroy the entire area. A massive shockwave erupts from the point of impact, tearing through the surrounding rooftops. The force of the blast is so immense it sends building fragments and machinery flying through the air. He curses her recklessness, knowing he'll face his family's wrath for the widespread destruction. Through the settling dust, he sees the silhouettes of Xiaohei and the woman standing together. The defeated goon stares up in absolute terror as the woman's weapon prepares for another strike. The bully leader can only watch in horrified silence, his arrogance completely shattered by her overwhelming power. Amidst the rubble, the white-haired woman stands calmly, her glowing eyes fixed on her next move. The scene abruptly shifts to a serene, ethereal realm filled with floating islands. Here, the white-haired woman plays a game of Go with a crane-headed being under a massive tree. The board shows a complex game in progress, a battle of wits between two powerful entities. The crane-headed being questions why his companion, whom he calls Lord Shenlong, insists on her human form. She scoffs at the rules of the immortal palace, retorting with a jab at his own hybrid appearance. Her sharp comeback leaves the crane-headed immortal completely flustered and at a loss for words. As she presses her advantage, he points out in alarm that she is suddenly bleeding. Lord Shenlong stares at her hand in disbelief, questioning how her invincible body could possibly be wounded. Her composure shatters as blood suddenly gushes from her nose, a sight she hasn't seen in a century. She hastily casts a hemostasis spell, desperately trying to contain the mysterious and alarming injury. The crane-headed immortal bids her farewell, but she has already vanished, leaving him talking to thin air. With glowing eyes and furious speed, Lord Shenlong hurtles from the heavens towards the mortal realm. She realizes an unbreakable death curse now links her to a mortal, and she vows to find the one responsible. The scene returns to the city, where a massive explosion rips through a nearby rooftop. An overhead view reveals a glowing barrier containing the fight, protecting the surrounding area from the fallout. The bully leader watches in awe, realizing the woman's cultivation is on an entirely different level from his own. She looks down on the defeated men, wondering if all low-level cultivators are this pathetically weak. The gang leader desperately screams at Xiaohei, trying to get him away from the powerful woman. Unimpressed, she turns and unleashes a wave of pure power, shattering the ground around her. Her cold indifference is met with the bully leader's face of absolute bug-eyed terror. The bully leader is paralyzed with fear, realizing the woman's power is absolute and he is her next target. From the ground, Xiaohei looks up at the powerful woman with a knowing, confident smirk. She recognizes him as the dragon she once devoured, demanding he immediately remove the blood curse. He feigns ignorance with a sly grin, claiming he has no idea how to lift the forbidden technique. Enraged by his defiance, she unleashes her frustration, slamming him repeatedly into the stone ground. The ground shatters under the force of her relentless assault, but the curse remains unbroken. The bully leader watches in disbelief as she furiously demands Xiaohei lift the curse, her rage seemingly uncontrollable. Her attack backfires as the curse forces her to share his injuries, causing her to violently cough up blood. The shared pain manifests physically, proving the curse's inescapable and brutal connection between them. She stumbles back in agony, realizing with dawning horror that every blow she lands on him only harms herself. The powerful woman decides to retreat, certain she can break the curse on her own time. But Xiaohei stops her, demanding fair compensation for being devoured in his past life. When she asks what he wants, he boldly declares his ambition to become an immortal. His outrageous demand sends her into a fury, infuriated by his sheer audacity. She coldly challenges him, questioning what he will do if she simply refuses. With a dark expression, he threatens to inflict endless, shared agony upon them both. Enraged by the blackmail, she considers imprisoning him while she works to undo the curse. He smirks, his eyes glowing red as he confidently dares her to test his resolve. Her eye flares with immense power as she prepares to unleash a divine technique. But she finds herself trapped in a swirling red prison, a manifestation of the curse's true power. She realizes with fury that the curse has manifested as an inescapable prison of red energy. Defeated, she tosses him a basic cultivation manual, mocking his talentless nature. The book is revealed to be an advance payment of skills, a down payment for his silence. Xiaohei accepts the book, understanding that true power comes from cultivation, not just enduring pain. She smirks, privately vowing to exploit him until she can finally break the curse and discard him. Their eyes glow with mutual predatory intent, acknowledging their new manipulative partnership. The terrified bully leader cowers against a wall, desperately trying to will himself out of existence. He panics as her gaze falls upon him, certain that his life is about to end. With a dismissive glare, she warns him to forget everything he saw, deeming him too worthless to kill. A flash of pink energy engulfs the bully leader, his face contorted in a silent scream. The bully leader screams a name in sheer terror as his mind is overwhelmed by the pink energy. The scene cuts to a body cultivation instructor, who furiously scolds a student for causing a disturbance in the exam room. The next day, the bully leader clutches his head in agony, his memory of the previous day completely wiped. At the school assembly, a teacher announces the first monthly exam, warning that low-ranking students face expulsion. The body cultivation instructor rallies the students, officially starting the proficiency test with a passionate command. 2 students express their surprise at the sudden exam, complaining that classes haven't even started. One classmate explains that for seniors, everything important was taught in previous years, questioning his friend about prep classes. His friend breaks into a cold sweat, clearly unprepared for this academic reality. The first student elaborates that senior year is all about rankings and extracurriculars, making prep classes essential for survival. Nearby, a student taunts a classmate, revealing his rank is in jeopardy because his transfer student partner didn't sign up for cram school. The student erupts in laughter, mocking his classmate's predicament. He then wonders aloud how the infamous class tyrant, Zhang Jibai, let him off the hook. Meanwhile, Zhang Jibai struggles with a memory gap, sensing something terrifying occurred that he can't quite recall. The instructor announces the first test is to penetrate a magical barrier, calling on Zhang Jibai to demonstrate. His instructor proudly presents Zhang Jibai, who confidently prepares to show off his skill. He lunges forward, channeling immense power into the tip of his spear. The weapon connects with a deafening crash, sending a shockwave through the testing ground. His spear effortlessly pierces through 5 successive layers of reinforced material. The instructor announces the impressive result, declaring the student's power is nearly on par with his own. While his fans cheer wildly, Zhang Jibai's confidence is a mask for the nagging worry he can't shake. Onlooking students whisper that Zhang Jibai is a top candidate for a prestigious university based on his raw power. His 5-layer penetration is an incredible feat, as most seniors can barely break through 3. The instructor calls up the next student, a nervous-looking boy named Wu Fei. With a mighty heave, Wu Fei hurls a heavy ball towards the reinforced target. The projectile smashes into the first layer with a burst of concentrated force. It manages to punch through the material, but its momentum quickly fades. Wu Fei watches with desperate hope, his face contorted with effort. The ball clatters to the ground on the other side, having only cleared a single layer. Despite the poor showing, Wu Fei celebrates wildly, overjoyed just to have passed the test. The instructor then calls for the transfer student, privately seething at the principal for accepting such a worthless addition to his class. A classmate offers some parting words of mock pity, certain Xiaohei is about to be expelled. But Xiaohei's eyes glow with power as he channels the black nether palm lightning technique. The instructor and his cronies erupt in laughter, mocking him for approaching the test with bare fists. The instructor sarcastically praises Xiaohei, confident this failure will somehow reflect well on him. In his hand, a swirling orb of red and black energy crackles into existence. He winds up, preparing to unleash the devastating power he's just manifested. The energy projectile shoots forward, hurtling towards the reinforced target with incredible speed. It connects with the first layer, erupting in a violent explosion of dark energy. The blast tears through the first barrier, its momentum barely slowing. One after another, the reinforced layers shatter under the overwhelming force of his attack. The instructor stares in disbelief, realizing Xiaohei has shattered every single barrier. The energy blast finally punches through the last wall, its power dissipating into the open sky. He wipes away a bead of sweat, relieved that the devastating attack has finally run out of steam. He announces that not only has Xiaohei broken the school record, but he did it with a never-before-seen technique. The instructor realizes the boy has mastered both body and kuai cultivation, marking him as a true genius. The onlooking students are now captivated, speculating that his hidden talent must come from a powerful sect. The students who mocked him earlier are now terrified, realizing they've made a powerful enemy. One of the bullies breaks into a cold sweat, certain he's doomed for his earlier disrespect. Xiaohei approaches the terrified student, who now looks decades older from sheer fright. The former bully now grovels, offering his undying loyalty as Xiaohei coolly walks away. As dusk settles, a cloud of dust signals someone rushing through the city streets. Inspired by the display, Zhang Zhibai decides he must train even harder to keep up. Meanwhile, Xiaohei blazes a trail of his own, speeding towards his home. He realizes the manual is a trap, with a system warning of penalties if he doesn't master the technique in time. He finally reaches his apartment building, racing against the clock. Inside, he frantically searches for the skill book, recalling he only memorized the last few pages in his past life. Frustrated, he can't remember the initial steps and knows a new copy won't arrive in time. A sudden idea strikes him, a modern solution to his ancient problem. His triumphant shout is cut short by an angry neighbor and the shocking price of the e-book. He stares at his phone in disbelief, realizing the algorithm-driven price for the technique is now astronomical. With the system's timer ticking down, he grimaces at the outrageous price, cursing his financial woes. He reluctantly completes the massive payment, leaving his bank account nearly empty. Wasting no time, he finds a secluded mountain forest to begin his urgent training session. He starts with a basic breathing technique, the system's countdown looming over his meditation. As hours pass, he moves on to activating his spiritual energy, the forest floor stirring around him. With only an hour left, he practices the final moves, his fist crackling with volatile red power. The surrounding woods are torn apart by the sheer force of his newly mastered technique. His precision is devastating, punching clean, smoking holes through solid rock as the final seconds tick away. Standing in the crater of his own making, he smirks with satisfaction, believing he has succeeded with ease. But his confidence shatters as a sudden, unexpected realization dawns on his face. He collapses, violently coughing up blood as the technique's true cost is revealed. Miles away, the white-haired woman resides in a secluded, traditional estate. Inside, she enjoys a moment of peace in a steamy, private bath. The powerful being relaxes, completely unaware of the disaster unfolding elsewhere. But her calm is shattered as the blood curse activates, causing her to share his fatal injury. Her rage erupts, not from the pain, but from the waste of her precious, newly made immortal due. The system confirms the worst. Xiaohei overexerted himself and died during the final stage of cultivation. Enraged, she unleashes a healing spell, furious that her simple restriction was enough to end him. A wave of restorative energy flows into his body, mending the fatal damage he inflicted upon himself. The story then flashes back 1 week, to the first day of senior year, where students gather around the class rankings. The class rankings show the bully, Zhang Zhibai, sitting comfortably in the top 10. He sneers with arrogance, boasting that his body tempering alone makes him superior to the so-called elite. A classmate's sudden shout shatters his smugness as she announces some shocking news. She points dramatically, revealing that the perennial last-place student has finally moved up. The list confirms it, showing Xiaohei's ex-girlfriend He Xin has now taken the bottom spot. Zhang Zhibai dismisses the loser, deciding it's time to show the new transfer student the school's pecking order. Back in the present, he stares at the updated rankings, stunned that a student has jumped 10 places after one test. His underling reminds him the second test is starting, urging him to move. Below them, rows of students sit in formation, awaiting the next phase of the exam. But Zhang Zhibai is frozen, a cold sweat breaking out as a terrifying, forgotten memory tries to surface. His mind replays the forgotten moment, a devastating blow that sent him reeling. The memory shows him being violently thrown by Xiaohei, whose glowing eyes revealed his true, terrifying nature. The flashback concludes with him being stretchered away, his classmates desperately hoping the school doctor could save him. The second test is revealed to be a trial of palm strength, which the students believe is Zhang Jibai's greatest advantage. A new challenger, Zhao Yikai, confronts Zhang Jibai, questioning his reputation and boasting of his own superior technique. He channels his energy into a forged steel palm, vowing to make his opponent pay for his arrogance. His strike connects with the floor, unleashing a shockwave that tears through the ground with immense force. A cloud of dust settles, revealing the devastating crater his attack left on the court. Through the dust, Zhang Jibai smirks, dismissing the powerful technique as nothing more than an overrated title. However, from within the settling dust, a pair of menacing red eyes begin to glow. Zhao Yikai stares in disbelief, shocked that Zhang Jibai is completely unfazed by his attack. Bloodied but enraged, Zhang Jibai mocks his opponent's technique before unleashing his own counter. With a single, devastating strike, he sends his challenger spinning through the air. The instructor casually orders the defeated student to be taken away, ready to move on. But Zhang Jibai interrupts, his eyes glowing as he demands the last-place student He Xin step up next. The scene shifts as a classmate begins to explain the school's cultivation system to an uninformed Xiaohei. He condescendingly quizzes Xiaohei on his background, realizing his new classmate lacks fundamental knowledge. The impromptu lesson continues, detailing the difference between public and proprietary cultivation techniques. He points out that while patented methods are stronger, they are far more difficult for the average person to learn. Elsewhere, a student demonstrates a simple maintenance spell, their hand glowing with golden energy. The student effortlessly reassembles the shattered debris with a simple wave of golden energy. The demonstration is cut short as one of Zhang Jibai's lackeys calls out He Xin for her turn. An overhead view shows Xiaohei and his ex-girlfriend standing opposite each other in the testing circle. Watching from the sidelines, Zhang Jibai feels an intense rivalry, eager to prove himself against Xiaohei. He channels his energy, seeing this confrontation as the perfect opportunity to assert his dominance. Xiaohei, however, coolly suggests they both attack at once, dismissing the need for a formal duel. His opponent's face contorts with rage, infuriated by such blatant disrespect. Xiaohei's arm glows with power as he prepares to unleash the forged steel palm technique. Zhang Jibai sneers at the common technique, completely underestimating the force behind it. With a devastating strike, Xiaohei unleashes an even more powerful version of the palm technique. The instructor stares in disbelief, realizing Xiaohei has layered a second, more powerful technique. The devastating palm strike connects, sending a shockwave across Zhang Jibai's face. His opponent's face contorts in agony as the overwhelming force of the blow lands. Zhang Jibai is sent flying backwards, completely overpowered by the single strike. He slams into the gymnasium wall, the impact shattering the structure around him. The class bully is left embedded in the wall, defeated and sprawled in a crater of his own making. The entire student body is frozen in a state of collective bug-eyed shock. The instructor realizes Xiaohei somehow combined a basic move with a legendary patented technique. He's baffled by how a transfer student could master such a difficult and dangerous skill. A classmate points out that the defeated bully is now stuck in the wall, suggesting he needs medical attention. Xiaohei questions the instructor's sudden and bizarre change in demeanor. The fawning teacher gets uncomfortably close, desperate to know which powerful master trained him. With a confident smirk, Xiaohei beckons the instructor closer, ready to reveal his secret. He whispers the name of the Dragon Lord, and the instructor's face contorts with pure terror. The scene shifts to the defeated bully, Zhang Jibai, recovering in a hospital bed. His face is swollen and bruised as he seethes with rage over his humiliating defeat. He stares at the ceiling, a nagging sense of familiarity haunting him as he tries to place his opponent. His older brother arrives, showing him a picture of Xiaohei and asking if he knows the transfer student. The brother is revealed to be Zhang Jiqian, who is stunned that Xiaohei somehow survived the Dragon Lord. Back at school, a classmate's question about the next exam goes unheard as Zhang Jibai is lost in his own thoughts. Lying in his hospital bed, Zhang Jibai speculates that the next exam will involve poison and toxin testing. Meanwhile, Xiaohei dons a menacing mask, a predatory grin signaling he's ready for whatever comes next. The scene shifts to a junkyard, where a massive pile of cars awaits destruction. Xiaohei unleashes his forged steel palm, completing his training by single-handedly crushing the scrap metal. A satisfied client confirms the job is done, transferring payment for the newly compacted pile of vehicles. Xiaohei smirks at his phone, pleased with his clever scheme to get paid for his cultivation training. A system notification reveals the next stage of his training requires him to endure 20 hits, leaving him searching for an opponent. His search is cut short as a mysterious figure approaches, mistaking him for his ex-girlfriend. Startled, Xiaohei quickly denies his identity, giving a fake name to the stranger. Elsewhere, an unsuspecting man at a desk suddenly sneezes, a classic sign that someone is talking about him. The unsuspecting man sneezes again, blaming his sudden illness on his work. The attacker reveals he was sent by young Master Zhang to discipline Xiaohei's ex-girlfriend. Unfazed, Xiaohei casually invites the powerful cultivator to begin the lesson. His opponent is unnerved by this lack of fear, wondering if he's hiding his true strength. Losing his patience, the attacker lunges forward with a powerful strike. The blow sends Xiaohei hurtling backwards, crashing through the forest canopy. Believing the fight is over, the attacker leaps down to finish his seemingly defeated target. But a flicker of doubt crosses his face as he senses something is terribly wrong. From the ground, Xiaohei grins with glowing red eyes, demanding his opponent hit him harder. The enraged cultivator unleashes a brutal series of strikes, which Xiaohei endures with a smirk. The attacker unleashes a final, powerful kick, aiming to end the fight for good. The blow connects with brutal force, but Xiaohei seems to absorb the impact without flinching. His opponent is baffled, wondering why Xiaohei still has a creepy smile despite his weakening aura. Deciding to end the farce, the attacker channels dark energy into a final, devastating technique. He strikes Xiaohei with the full force of his finishing move, expecting a decisive end. The impact sends Xiaohei hurtling backwards, crashing through the dense forest. He slams into a massive stone cliff, the rock face shattering from the sheer force. Kneeling in the crater, Xiaohei appears defeated, the ground around him completely destroyed. The attacker stands over him, mocking the supposed weakness of today's high schoolers. But a system notification suddenly appears, confirming that Xiaohei's training objective is now complete. His attacker is stunned, realizing Xiaohei's recovery speed defies all logic. He lunges forward, determined to end the fight with one last powerful kick. The impact is immense, sending a shockwave that shatters the ground around them. But a close-up on Xiaohei's glowing eye reveals he has successfully completed his training objective. The attacker recoils in pain, his own leg now injured from the force of his kick. With his training complete, Xiaohei unleashes his own power, manifesting the black underworld palm thunder. With a flash of red in his eye, he thrusts the volatile energy directly into his opponent. His opponent smirks, arrogantly dismissing the attack as a weak spell he can easily contain. Xiaohei grins menacingly, daring him to contain the volatile energy that now engulfs his hand. The attack is revealed to be a devastating combination of the forged steel palm and 100 refined steel. The attacker is sent flying as Xiaohei unleashes a devastating kick of his own. The force of the blow sends him hurtling backwards through the forest canopy. His trajectory ends with a devastating crash into a stone wall, shattering the rock face. He stumbles to a stop, the ground cracking beneath him as he struggles to comprehend the sudden reversal. The brutal impact takes its toll, causing him to cough up a spray of blood. He assesses his shattered meridians, furious that a mere student forced him to use healing energy and vowing revenge. His thoughts of revenge are interrupted by the terrifying realization that the attack isn't over. He stares in horror at his hand, realizing the volatile energy from the attack is still attached to him. Cursing in frustration, he desperately tries to fling the parasitic energy away, but it refuses to let go. His face contorts in agony and terror as he realizes the parasitic energy is inescapable. The parasitic energy erupts in a devastating explosion, engulfing the forest in red light. With the battle won, Xiaohei calmly walks away, leaving the aftermath behind him. A system notification confirms his victory and rewards him with a magical tool to track fast-moving objects. Back at school, the rankings board shows his ex-girlfriend's name, Hei Xin, has climbed to number 18. Zhang Jibai stares at the board, seething at how quickly his rival is climbing the ranks. He recalls sending thugs after his target, realizing with fury that Xiaohei must have defeated them too. Nearby, a classmate defends Hei Xin, scoffing at the lowball offer for such a valuable secret. The scene shifts to a classroom, where a teacher prepares for the next phase of the exam. The chemistry teacher announces a test of poison-making and detection skills. She warns the class that mastering these skills is a matter of life and death in their dangerous future careers. The teacher explains the test. Identify the one poisoned item on their tray and consume the rest for a grade. A rival student smirks, knowing that a powerful ally has tampered with Xiaohei's entire tray. He's confident the pungent foods on the tray will mask the scent of a poison so potent even the teacher can't detect it. Elsewhere, a different student eagerly begins the test, confident this is a field where he can excel. One student uses a silver needle to test a dumpling, his face contorting in shock as it instantly indicates poison. Another student employs a different method, channeling golden energy from her fingertip to scan for toxins. The teacher watches on, silently impressed by the student's exceptional poison detection skills. The instructor approaches Xiaohei's desk, questioning why he's the only one not participating. The rival from before sneers, certain that Xiaohei is paralyzed by indecision. A menacing shadow looms over Xiaohei, reflecting the rival's certainty that any choice will be his last.